I'm live. I'm live. Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. I forgot to put on my introduction. What's going on there? I can hear myself echoing. Right. Now, I'm here now. I'm here now. I forgot to put on my introduction video, so I was waiting for the introduction video and it didn't happen. So the next thing I was live and I didn't realise. Okay, so hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So I'm here in mainland Spain. It's chilly. It's only 11 degrees. I should have my fire on really, or my hat, or don't you? Where is my hat? Where is my hat? Oh, it's over the other side of the room. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly today. Let me know what it's like where you are in the world, and what the weather's like. And in this video, we're going to talk about this man, a horrible man who did horrible things. And I'll tell you what, if this man, he nearly caused so many problems. It's an absolute miracle that nobody died. If anybody doesn't know about this case, this is Paul Doyle, and he is the man who rammed into the people that were celebrating the Liverpool Premier League win this year. Liverpool, this is the UK. Liverpool, most people, wherever you are in the world, you'll know about Liverpool. That's where the Beatles come from. And the Liverpool football team won the Premier League Championship this year for the first time forever, it felt like. So there was massive celebrations in Liverpool, and the streets were cut off, weren't they, so that people could walk freely, celebrate. And this man, for whatever reason, a reason only known to him, probably because he was coked out of his head or drunk, or probably a combination of both, sort of somehow got into the part of the city that had been sealed off, followed behind an ambulance, apparently. Must have been trying to get home, maybe when he originally parked, wherever he went, the roads weren't closed off, and then the celebrations were later and he couldn't get out, he couldn't get home. So instead of doing what most people would do and either hanging around and waiting, or getting on a bus or something, or finding an alternative route home, which may have taken longer. But, this is a one-off thing. It's not, they don't win the Champions League. They don't win the Premiership every day, Liverpool. There's not, the streets aren't sealed off every day. Oh, but not this man. No, he decided he was going through whatever. And when he then got into difficulties because people were getting annoyed with him because he was driving down somewhere where he shouldn't have been driving down, he then just started ramming into everybody, just randomly. Children, pushchairs. How no one was killed, I have no idea. How did he get away without killing anyone? He could be up on literally on a murder or manslaughter charge. So, of course, when the news came out about this man or about this incident, initially everyone was thinking it was, a terror attack, and, the right wing were having a field day on social media, saying it was an immigrant, and, all the bots were out in force, and all the horrible sort of racists out there that just blame everything on immigrants. And then when it turned out to be, a white middle-aged male, ex-Royal Marine, Mr. Suburbia, pleasant, it's suddenly funny that the Ferrari died down, which, this is yet another case. And if people can't see it by now, I'm sick of trying to drum it into people. Evil does not take the guise that you think it does, that you think that anyone who's evil or does bad things, they must, have a certain colour skin, or they must come from a certain place, or they must have a certain backstory. It's not true. This is the face of evil right here. This man could be facing charges of killing lots of people. And luckily for him, and luckily for the people, so, you know, God was obviously looking after Liverpool that day. Nobody was killed. That really is a miracle. We'll see a little bit of the video in a moment, and you'll see why I'm saying that if you haven't seen it already. For anyone who hasn't seen this, he literally ploughed into people, and as I say, pushed chairs, children, didn't care who it was. He wanted to get home, and he was probably agitated because the crowd were getting agitated with him. But instead of just sitting there in his car ringing 999 or whatever and just waiting till the police or security came along, he decided he was going to just plough his car into everyone. Anyway, then he also, up to now, unbelievably, has pled not guilty. I mean, do you know, talk about a crazy world. You could not make this shit up. There's videos of him doing this, you know, videos clearly that he did it, and he pled not guilty. Initially, he's only just changed his plea. How could he plead not guilty? You know, I'm speechless again. I'm so often speechless in this mad world that we live in. But how could he possibly plead not guilty? Anyway, he did. But yesterday, for some unknown reason, probably because his solicitor has said to him, "Look, you've got your best chance is to plead guilty and just take." I mean, what sentence is this man going to get? I've got this horrible feeling he's not going to get a very long sentence, if any actual prison time. But really, he should, shouldn't he? Anyway, that's what I think. But I have no idea what sentence he will get. I don't know what the sort of sentences are in these cases, especially now he's pled guilty. Nobody was killed, but that's not by judgment. That, just good luck, not judgment, that nobody was killed. I mean, he didn't care whether he was killing anyone or not. He was probably high as a kite. But even when you're high as a kite, you still know when you're driving into someone, children and pushchairs and things like that, you still know you've got a good chance you might kill somebody. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no extenuating circumstances for this. You don't plough into children. Anyway, or anyone, but especially children. So I just want to say my quick thank yous before I get going properly with this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to all of you thank you to all of you who have become a member. So tonight is Members Live. We're going to be talking a lot about Christmas tonight. I'm going to show you the Christmas videos. I've actually got my Christmas lights up outside. Only a few, but it's funny, everybody else puts their Christmas lights up. They're all very precise and proper, and not mine are just chaos, but they're solar lights. I'm really pleased with them. Anyway, but I'll be talking about other Christmassy things tonight and showing my Christmas videos. But Christmas doesn't start, that's just for the members. Christmas doesn't start officially until the 1st of December on Vic and Marie Chats. Thank you to all of you who sent me Ko-fis, or just for being basically interested in the cases that I talk about. Where else am I going? So yeah, hi there, you lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hi there, replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're all well. I hope you're all looking forward to Christmas. And those of you who are not, we'll try and have a bit of fun anyway. I know Christmas is not a great time for everybody, is it? So we have to remember that. And now I'm going to come into the chat. Let's see who's here in the chat. Brave enough to put their head over the parapet. Hi, David. Yeah, I hope he does get a life sentence, David, to be honest, because I know it's probably a moment of madness. And maybe he's not a bad person, but it's still a very selfish thing to do, isn't it? And as I say, if he wasn't who he is, people would be baying for his blood by now. bring back the death sentence, even though he hasn't killed anyone. It's just because he is a middle-aged white man who used to be in the Royal Marines and he's Mr. Suburbia. But you know what? You never know. He could be, we don't, he's got no other previous convictions. It's a very strange thing. I think it's obviously under the influence of something, wasn't he? Because it's not like he's got a history of, as far as we know anyway. We might not find out until after the court case is ended if he's got any history of aggression or domestic violence, etc., because they don't like to reveal those sort of things, do they? Because he's got to get his fair trial, hasn't he? So, which is fair enough. But maybe he hasn't got any previous. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's just things going on in his life and he just exploded. Maybe just not a Liverpool fan. Who knows? But it's to go from not doing anything, if you like, if he has got no previous convictions. This is a big acceleration, isn't it? Normally people start off with petty things and build up to big things. This is a great big explosion of aggression if there's no other history of aggression, isn't there? But anyway, we'll find out sooner or later, I suppose. So, yeah, hi, David. Hi, Darren. Good morning. You think he'll get 17 years? I hope so. Exactly. It is no. Hi, Admit. I hope you're well. Yeah, he was on his own in the car, Darren. He was on his own in the car. I mean, they say, it's not the thing about this case as well is they had to, because of what happened with the Southport attacker, who killed those poor little girls, and the riots that followed. The police had to come out with this guy's name, etc., pretty quick, because of course all the speculation on social media was that it was a terrorist attack and that it would have been an Islamist radical or someone like that. So it was a very very delicate position, because the police don't like to come out with names and things instantly. I think people have forgotten that. It's not just because they don't want to give people's ethnicity. In this case, they will have wanted to give his ethnicity to try and calm everything down. But they have to make sure that they've spoken to all the family first. If it's your family member, they can't release a photo until, imagine your family member, their name coming up as responsible for a crime like this, because the police haven't got around to talking to you yet before the name got released, etc. So I think it's a very difficult position. And there was God, I remember it on the social media, the rumours again, it was some immigrant, it was this, it was that. And they were the crowds there at the time were calling for blood, literally. Get in, kill him, before they knew it was some white guy. It's awful, really, to see how everyone's on such a knife edge, with everything. And anyway, and there were false pictures put out. I saw pictures that were supposedly of him driving the car, but they were photoshopped to look like dark-skinned individuals, etc. So it was a horrible thing. Oh, is Admit might be on the Spanish channel. Yeah, Admit, I don't think I should let me show the comment. If I press the show comments, because on the Spanish channel, the comments don't come up. You don't come up for each other, but hopefully on there you can see all the comments. I don't know if you can or not. So let's have a look at it anyway. 17 years. I think 17 years would be a fair sentence. I mean, the thing is, he didn't kill anyone, I know. But it's only by good luck that he didn't kill anyone, isn't it? It's like he could easily have killed many, many people. Many people. So let's have a look. Oh, wrong one. I'm sharing the wrong one. So yeah, I think 17 years would be a fair sentence personally for I think sometimes when they sentence people, not just him, but anyone, just sometimes people, I know there is the crime of attempted murder, but sometimes when people are just lucky not to have killed anyone, not because they tried not to kill them, but they in fact did try, they deserve just the same sentence for me, because as far as they're concerned, this person could easily have killed everybody. So this is him. Well, this was him in 2005. Now, he may have some mental health issues. Apparently, he's crying all the time. He's been given his evidence. But, sociopaths do that, don't they? Psychopaths, sociopaths. I'm not saying he's a sociopath or a psychopath. I have no idea. But they quite often cry. Just because he was crying doesn't necessarily mean, he's probably crying for himself. Or quite often they are. Maybe he's not crying in genuine remorse. Maybe he's just crying because he knows, he's going to prison for quite a long time, and so he should. So he should. Yeah, that's interesting, David. Yeah, they shouldn't go near his home. It's nothing to do with his wife and kids, of course, no. But, that counts in all cases, doesn't it? No, you shouldn't go to anyone's home, even if he was there, to be honest. You should not take the law into your own hands. I don't believe in that at all. Either you respect the law or you don't. I mean, the thing is, if you take the law into your own hands, then you're just as bad as the person who's done it. So that's how I look on it. So it's not up to you to go to someone's house and badger them, even whether they had a wife and kids or not. In my opinion, let the law take its course. Because otherwise you are just the same. You can't be you're either, you either believe in justice or you don't. But anyway, so yeah, apparently he's a nice neighbour. And this is what I'm always trying to say. Please don't think that someone that appears so nice and normal, whatever that is, don't think that criminals look a certain way or come in a certain package. They don't. There is evil in everyone. And sometimes it's the ones that you don't expect. Now, he may have had PTSD because he was in the Royal Marines. But then, lots of people that are in the Royal Marines that get PTSD, but they don't go and plough into a load of people. There's something repressed in this man, or he was just totally drugged out of his mind, because how could he think he would get away with it? I mean, what was even going through his mind? So apparently the day that Paul Doyle ploughed his 2-ton Ford Galaxy into a dense crowd of pedestrians started with some gardening and friendly chat with his neighbours. According to witnesses, there was nothing to suggest that hours later 134 people, including babies, children and the elderly, out to watch Liverpool FC's victory parade, would become victims of his act of calculated violence. So, yeah, babies, children, the elderly. He was totally non-discriminatory in who he attacked. So then he's pled not guilty for months. After months of denials, Doyle changed his pleas to guilty at Liverpool Crown Court moments before the prosecution was set to open its case. So really, he's wasted. I think they have to take that into account. I know he's changed his plea to guilty, but all that preparation for a trial and everything, it's all cost a bloody fortune. He should have pled not guilty right from the beginning. Sorry, my dog's got, we had some bakery food this morning. Hey, come here. And she's got the bag that you might be. She's trying to get every last little crumb out the bottom of it. Hey, get out of that bag. She's trying to get there's a few little crumbs left, isn't there, in the bag? A few little crumbs, baby. Yes, there is, you beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl. So yeah, he's wasted all that time, money, effort, everything, all those months. I hope they take that into account as well when they find him guilty. Sorry, when they give the sentence. So yeah, just moments before the prosecution was set to open its case, that's when he pled guilty. So he's a former Royal Marines commando turned cyber security expert, and now facing many years in prison after admitting multiple counts of causing and attempting to cause grievous bodily harm with intent. Oh, it's attempted murder as far as I can see. Anyway, according to people who knew him, he shunned drugs and alcohol and was heavily into running and cycling. I thought he had been taking drugs, but maybe I've imagined that. I thought when he had a drug test, he had been taking drugs. Well, if he hadn't been taking any drugs or anything and he did that, that's even worse, isn't it? So it's got all that anger in him. Anyway, he was heavily into running, cycling, well liked by his neighbours, stopping for chats as he walked his dog around the estate. I remember we were saying at the time, it reminded me of that film with Michael Douglas. That was over a custody battle, wasn't it? That the character that Michael Douglas played in that what was that film called? Falling Down, was it? David, you'd seen it, I think. Can you remember the name of that film with Michael Douglas where he just got stuck in traffic one day and he just lost it completely? It reminded me of that bit. I mean, people do lose it. I mean, you know, we all have our sort of what's the word, limits. You know, we all have our limits. We're probably all capable of snapping just for whatever reason. But you feel with this, there's got to be something more to it. Whether it is mental health issues, says the neighbours are saying he shunned drugs and alcohol, but I don't know why I seem to have it in my head that he had been taking something. But anyway, so that picture that his neighbours paint of him stands in stark contrast to what police and prosecutors were preparing to argue in front of a jury moments before he unexpectedly folded on Wednesday, and that is literally yesterday. So let's just have a look at this video. So this was all over social media at the time, so you can see how many people there are just there. Let's have a look at the video. I'm going to make it bigger. Don't know where, I can't see where I can make it bigger, but never mind. Come on. So, I mean, it's pretty scary. Look, all those people, and he comes along here and just smashes into everyone. Literally just plows into everyone. And personally, this guy, he's lucky to be alive, because those crowds, I've seen the videos from nearer, they were baying for his blood. They were trying to get to him and rip him apart. Look at that guy there. So the police had to keep the crowds away from him. How did nobody die? I just don't know. Literally, it is a miracle, isn't it? Because there were so many people and he just ploughed into them randomly. So he's lucky he's not facing a murder charge or a manslaughter charge. Then he would definitely be going to prison for a long, long time. He's going to get quite a long sentence, I think. And he should. Personally, I think he should. Hi, proud liberal. Yeah, that's it, falling down. Why can't I make this? Anyway, I don't see. There it is. There it is. Let's do it again. We're on the full screen. Yeah, so that particular bit there, let me just go back to that. That was played on social media. This is how social media is very dangerous. This particular scene, as he drove off and somebody tried to open his door, I think, and he pulled his door shut, that was represented on social media. It was photoshopped. So he looked like an Asian, an Indian or a Muslim colouring, etc. I mean, he does look quite dark. And this was, brandished all over the right-wing, horrible, racist social media platforms, including the usual suspects, Tiny Tommy Robinson, who's in the pocket of the Israelis, Nigel Farage, and the Reform in the pocket of the Russians, all trying to say that they know what's best for Britain. They don't know what's best for Britain. They know what's best for Russia or Israel, maybe. And they stir all these problems up. And they were loving this because they were convinced it would be somebody with a Muslim name. And what a disappointment when it wasn't. But that actual bit as he drove off and the door opened and you could just briefly see him, a lot was made of that it was, he was a Muslim. Let's just watch it again. They pulled his there. Just that little bit. Oh, yeah. So look at his haircut. He's definitely Muslim. Oh, look, he's got dark skin. It's terrible. So, of course, he tried to drive off, but he couldn't get anywhere. And then everyone was starting to get angry with him. And he just ploughed into them. Where did he think he was going? See, this is what I don't really understand either is, did he really think that ploughing into these people would mean he'd be able to just go through and go home and nobody would know that he'd done it? I mean, or was he just not thinking? Or, this is what makes me think he must have been on something. Surely nobody would do that. Nobody would do that, would they? Unless, they were definitely unhinged in that moment for one reason or another. Unless he was just scared for his own life. But there were police there. Like you could see there were police there, and the police would keep, the police saved his life in a way, because when he did come to a halt, all the crowds were baying for his blood. So he ruined that day. That was a day of celebration for Liverpool. They hadn't won the Premier League for years and years and years. I don't know how many years. Some of you in the chat might know how long it had been. Was it over 20 years? Or maybe I'm exaggerating there. But, like Liverpool used to be so, they were like Manchester United, weren't they? They were like it. Dominated the Premier League for so long and won it so many times, and then they haven't won it for ages. So this was a lovely day of celebration. People were there with their kids, with the family, Liverpool fans loving every minute of it. And he just ruined the whole day by doing that. So he's obviously not a Liverpool fan. I don't know. And then, look, the police had to actually practically save his life because people were trying to get to him and they had smashed the back of his window in, which is not good. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done any of that. What a situation, But, of course, this is like, what's the word, this video that we're watching, it doesn't show the worst bits. I mean, the video of, there was a buggy underneath the car. I mean, he literally ploughed into babies in buggies. And as I say, how nobody was killed, I just have no idea. I honestly don't. It is a miracle. I think you could definitely claim that as a miracle, that nobody died, personally. Hi, Peter. Right, showed he was sober. Yeah, I think a lot of people thought it was a terrorist attack, didn't they, David? But, we've always got to be aware. I mean, it was a terrorist attack in a way. I mean, anything that causes terror is a terrorist attack, isn't it? But It wasn't based on any ideology, wasn't crashing into those people, unless he's is he an Everton fan or something? I don't know. People have done worse things about football, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? People take football very seriously, don't they? So it could be that. Maybe he was annoyed at Liverpool winning the league, I don't know. People don't normally do things like that for absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm presuming he's been assessed mentally since then. Anyway, so it seems that according to the chief Crown prosecutor, Sarah Hammond, speaking after the hearing, the guilty pleas meant that Doyle had finally accepted that he intentionally drove into crowds of innocent people. Now, is that what? So in the beginning, was he saying that it wasn't intentional? The thing is, the video shows. Dear me, looks like he's a troubled man, doesn't he? And he might be because of his service. I don't know, what his circumstances are. But yeah, I think he was initially trying to say it was all an accident. Anyway, so apparently now he's finally accepted he intentionally drove into crowds of innocent people, and dash cam footage from his own vehicle shows that he approached Dale Street and Water Street, and he became increasingly agitated by the crowds. Now, maybe that dash cam will come out one day after he's been sentenced and the case is finished completely. But driving a vehicle into a crowd is an act of calculated violence. This was not a momentary lapse by Paul Doyle. It was a choice he made that day, and it turned celebration into mayhem. Yeah, so it sort of ruined that day forever, really, for the Liverpool fans. And yeah, he did it more, what can I say? So he didn't just, lose control once and then stop. He kept doing it. So it was again and again. So it obviously was premeditated in the end. So he lives apparently in a quiet Croxtiff cul-de-sac in Liverpool with his wife Alison, a local teacher. Now, my heart's going out for her because I can't imagine how that's been for her. I mean, is she still teaching? And he's got 3 sons. So although, we're thinking of the victims because, even though nobody died, some people did have very serious injuries. And not only that, just the trauma of what they went through, being hospitalized, and I say a miracle that everybody survived, and it's fantastic. But they've still got to live with the trauma of that, I bet they won't be wanting to go to celebrations again and things. It'd always be on your mind, wouldn't it? And then we have to spare a thought for his family, for his wife and his 3 sons who haven't done anything wrong. It's not their fault that their dad just had a psychotic episode or whatever. So apparently that morning, so this was the 26th of May this year, 2025. And they were mystified about how a very good neighbour had come to cause such carnage on the 26th of May. He had been out in the front garden all that morning messing with the trees. He was always out gardening, said one woman living nearby who did not wish to be named. He genuinely seemed like a nice man. I was going out with my son and he said, "Hello, how are you?" and so on. He always let on. And when she was asked if anything seemed unusual with his demeanour that morning, she said nothing at all. So neighbours in Burgill Road said they recognised the Fort Galaxy titanium on the news after footage of the chaos on Water Street began to filter through. Something's, somebody might be able to tell me in chat, but something's ringing a bell. Didn't his wife see it on the news as well? I couldn't believe it, one said. I didn't want to watch. I think maybe he panicked. One man said his wife had come out the next morning and one of our other neighbours asked her, "Was that your car?" And she burst into tears and said, "Yes," and you didn't really see her after that. That's a shame for his wife. It's a shame. I feel sorry for them. It's not their fault and it's ruined their lives. So his colleagues said he had no signs of an explosive temper. He was described as a mentor by a former colleague. So this is him in, 2005. So it's 20 years ago. So he's quite a bit younger there, obviously. One former work colleague who met Doyle when they worked for an IT firm in Merseyside around 13 years ago described a bonding with Doyle over their shared military background. And he told the BBC, he was a mentor to me, really. I was new to my career. I was exploring avenues on what I wanted to do. And he was a great teacher and mentor with a great sense of humour. And we both share military background, so I think we had a shared humour. Another former colleague at a separate Liverpool company who worked with Doyle back in 2005 described him as very competitive. He said he travelled to Kenya with Doyle on a group excursion to trek up Mount Kilimanjaro in neighbouring Tanzania, claiming when he did anything, he always wanted to do it the best way. When we were up there coming down, I think a couple of French guys started running down and he didn't want them to beat him, so he ran down after them and he barely broke a sweat. I don't know how that's relevant really to this, but yeah. Just making sure I missed anyone coming in. So yeah, both colleagues said they were never aware of him drinking heavily or using drugs, and they had no sense he had the kind of explosive temper that led to the events in May. This is what I mean. It's a big difference, is it? You know, most people, if they end up committing things like this or, you know, committing any crime, really, it builds up gradually, doesn't it, normally? Builds up gradually, and you know, they don't just do one great big thing like this. They do little things. There'd be displays of temper. There'd be some domestic violence, maybe. You know, the neighbours would say, oh yeah, we used to hear shouting from the house, or, you know, those kind of things. But this seems to have just literally come right out of the blue, doesn't it? So, you know, maybe there are things in his life that we don't know about, pressures that he didn't know about. Because look at this, he's admitted 31 offences, including 17 of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm, 9 of causing grievous bodily harm with intent, 3 of wounding with intent, 1 of dangerous driving, and 1 of affray. And the charges related to 29 victims, and their ages of the victims range from 6-month-old. This is where I start to get angry, because I don't care, you know, how panicked you are or what's going on. You know, when there's a fucking pushchair right in front of you that there's probably a baby in it, there's no excuse. So now I'm angry now. So now I hope he gets the biggest sentence that you can imagine. 6-month-old Teddy Eveson. How did that baby survive? To 77-year-old Susan Passett. Get off the bag. She's found the bag again with the crumbs. Get off. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. So sentencing will begin on the 15th of December. So, yeah, 29 victims aged from 6 months old to 77 years old, to the most vulnerable people in our society. People just there celebrating their team winning the Premier League. It could have been us, you know, without if our teams won the Premier League, though my team does quite often win the Premier League because it's Manchester City, but there were years where it didn't. So, you know, that probably would have been what it was like after all those wilderness years at Manchester City, my football team. You know, were consigned to the lower divisions and didn't win anything. And then they got promoted back up to the Premier League. They got bought by the Saudis or the the people that bought, I don't know where they're from. I don't care really. At the end of the day, they bought it. They injected money into the club, and now we're successful. But for many years we weren't, just like Liverpool. So that first time of winning the Premier League after years in the wilderness, how ecstatic everybody would have been, because football, I know it's not important to everyone, but it's important to a lot of people, and especially in places like Liverpool, Manchester, these iconic teams, etc. These are so a lot of people, football is just part of their DNA. I just brought up supporting Manchester City because my older brother that used to take me there to watch the football. I love football. And years we had to put up with Manchester City being in lower divisions, but it didn't mean I didn't support them anymore. I'm not a glory hunter, unlike some teams whose fans, most of them, they just support them because they were successful and then they swap. Then when other teams come successful, you don't do that with teams like Liverpool or Manchester City. These are teams, they're in the fans' DNA. And so that lovely day that it should have been, for these fans, it's like, for anyone who is not that bothered about football, but maybe you're into, I don't know, American football or rugby or anything, and and it's a team. When your team wins a big thing like that. And there were families, right? So these victims ranging from 6 months to 77 years old, and all the ages in between. They're probably pregnant women, maybe even in that crowd. There's just a mixture of all sorts of people. Toddlers, Teddy was the youngest. He's a baby. But there'll have been toddlers. There'll have been older children. There'll have been adolescents. Just vile. What he's done is a vile man. He's a vile man. Sorry, they can say he's a nice neighbour as much as they want, but nobody does that unless they've got some real darkness in their soul. Or maybe he was just taken over by the devil that day. I don't know. So, we've got to wait till the 15th of December before we find out what sentence he's going to get. I hope, I hope you're right. I hope it will be at least 17 years, personally. I think 17 years would be a good sentence because, it's only, as I say, though, by good luck that he didn't kill anybody. It's so, you've got to take that into account. Let's have a look at this video. I don't think we've looked at this one on Sky News.
Former Royal Marine who hit more than 100 people with his car at a Liverpool parade has pled guilty to 31 charges against him. More than 1 million fans were gathered in the city centre to celebrate the team's Premier League victory before.
So that picture of the bus there with the team on the top, that was earlier, wasn't it? So the team had gone through and it was as everybody was going home. He wouldn't have had long to wait and the roads would have been open again, but he didn't want to wait, did he?
Paul Doyle began deliberately driving into the crowds. The victory parade on the 26th of May started at 2:30 in the afternoon. Celebrations were in full swing as fans waited to see Liverpool stars come through the city on an open-top bus. Just after 6 p.m. as the parade ended.
Now, do you see all those police that were there? I bet the police by then, they was probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief. The team's gone through, the days passed without incident or major incident, probably looking forward to going home, finishing their shift. And then literally just when it should all have been calming down. Now, think what happened. How he got through, I think, and again, if anybody knows any different, please correct me, but didn't someone have a medical emergency and an ambulance had to go through to attend to somebody, and this man followed behind the ambulance as they opened up the barriers to let the ambulance through? I think Paul just followed behind the ambulance. That's how he ended up there in the first place. Because I remember initially thinking, how the hell did he even get in that amongst that, But I think that's how it happened. Let's see.
were in full swing as fans waited to see Liverpool stars come through the city on an open-top bus. Just after 6 p.m, as the parade ended, the crowd was leaving the waterfront when Doyle drove into a group of fans on Water Street. Footage shows the moment the car collided with the crowds before fans surrounded the vehicle, hitting it repeatedly. Rob Dark had gone to the parade with his 2 sons, but was left with life-changing injuries.
Well, I was walking with my youngest son, and we were together, and we were walking up, and I heard shouting, then I heard screaming, and then there was like people come flying towards me, and then bang. I just stepped off the curb, and the car wheel crushed my foot on the curb, and the pain was absolutely incredible. I thought terrorist. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Everybody thought terrorist, didn't they, at first? You know, and of course it was so controlled, the whole thing, because the police will have been thinking terrorists, won't they? You know, at the end of the day, that's unfortunately, you know, that happens too, that it is often terrorists. But, you know, that's why it's important to wait until you get official confirmation of things before just jumping to conclusions. But anyway, so this poor guy, you know, he is alive, but it said he had life-changing injuries, so it sounds like his foot was crushed or whatever. But again, a miracle that he survived. But, you know, that should not take away from this man's sentence. He's lucky this man is not dead.
And my son, who else would do a thing like that?
Police say Doyle's car collided with more than 100 people in just 7 minutes. The 54-year-old father of 3 from Croxteth in Liverpool was arrested the same day. 134 people were injured in the attack, including children, the youngest a 6-month-old baby boy. Paul Doyle cried in court as he admitted all 31 charges against him, including causing and attempting to cause grievous bodily harm.
Yeah. Who's he crying for, I wonder? Is he crying for the victims? Is he crying for his family and what he's done to them? Or is he crying for himself? You know, all these tears in court and everything. I know at least he's showing remorse, I suppose, but I'm suspicious of it. So just like, you just think, well, he's crying now, but, you know, anyway, I'm sure you'll tell me what you think.
And dangerous driving. Prosecutors said his deliberate actions brought chaos to the community.
Driving a vehicle into a crowd is an act of calculated violence. This was not a momentary lapse by Paul Doyle. It was a choice he made that day, and it turned celebration into mayhem.
Paul Doyle was told to expect a lengthy custodial term when he is sentenced for the offences in December.
Thanks for that insight, Ado. You were there at the time. You were all petrified trying to run away from the car, but not knowing if there were other cars involved. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it could have been terrorists, couldn't it? It could have been an attack by several people, or it could have been somebody then jumping out the car with a knife and going around stabbing people. You know, that's why it's called terrorism, isn't it? Hi, Angel. Oh, so you were on the street with your wife, brother-in-law. We're in our 50s. We saw him reversing into people intentionally. Yeah, what the hell possessed him? You know, what the hell is possessed him to do it? I just don't know. You know, yeah, I know road rage is a big thing, of course, but, you know, this is, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. I'd understand it more if he would have been high or whatever and not in control of his faculties. If he's in control of his faculties and supposedly this nice neighbour who used to be in the Royal Marines, law-abiding, there's, you know, people do things for a reason. They don't do them arbitrarily. You know, maybe there's something going on in his life that we just don't know about. And I agree with you there, Mister. I think he's had a lot of sympathy because he seems like an average man. If he was, you know, any sort of he had a different colour skin, or, you know, or if he was trans, or if he was gay or whatever. But he's Mr. Average, isn't he? He's Mr. Normal, Mr. Nice Neighbour. And of course, he was a Royal Marine. And I'll say maybe he has got some PTSD, but it seems strange for it to just come out now. And lots of Royal Marines or other service people have got PTSD and don't go taking it out on other people. I don't really like people who use these excuses. He's going to be saying he's autistic next, or that's a common theme these days, that people blame it on being autistic, or, you know, some other sort of ADHD or whatever. Anyway, we'll see what happens, because, of course, even though he's pled guilty, I presume there's going to be victim impact statements. He will get an opportunity to say something if he wants to say anything. Yeah, what is his reason? I mean, don't forget, he's denied it for months. He's denied it and said it was accidental. So he's not much of a nice person, really, is he? You know, I mean, really, I personally would feel more sympathy for him if right from day one you'd say, I have no idea what possessed me, I just lost it. You know, we're all human. We're all human. What I can't bear are lies. To me, he's lied from day one, saying it was an accident. And now when he's come to just before the trial, after putting, you know, he could have put these victims out of their misery a long time ago, really, because it could all be over with by now. But he's not. He's kept to it, saying that he's not guilty, saying it was accidental for months. And then just before the trial, he's come out, probably because his solicitor said to him, you know, come on, it's just pointless. You're trying to say you're not guilty. You are patently guilty. Do you think, you know, I mean, how could he? So in the meantime, that if you're British and you live in Britain, you as the British taxpayer, you've paid for all this going on, when it could have been resolved ages ago if he would have just admitted his guilt from day one, when it was, you know, patently obvious he was guilty. So these are the things that make me have a lack of sympathy for him, because he should have told the truth from the beginning. If he just lost it, well, he lost it. And do you know what? All of us perhaps are capable of it in the right circumstances. But the worst thing that he's done is lied about it for months. This trial, you know, as I say, the British taxpayer has paid for the trial all to be set up. It was literally just about to start. Could have saved the taxpayer a lot of money, just admitted it right from the beginning. So, now, I think hadn't he been, I read, and again, you know, just things you read at the time. Oh, by the way, Ado Footy, I'm so glad that you and your family were okay in the end, though. Do you know what? You know, that is traumatic, isn't it? It put you off in the future going to a similar type celebration, wouldn't it? Which is a shame, because this should have been a happy event, and it was a happy event all day till right at the last minute, wasn't it? Because of this man. But I thought hadn't he been to I thought he'd been to a strip joint. I don't know, why do I think that? Hadn't he been to some sort of stripper's place? That's what I remember. Said he'd been dropping a friend off in the Liverpool city centre as a favour. Well, you know, the thing about strip joints, it's a bit like the brothels here in Spain, the nightclubs. You don't ask to go to a nightclub in Spain unless you want a brothel, because in Spain, a brothel is a nightclub. So if you want to go for a dance, you go to a discotheque. But if you want to go to a nightclub, it's different. But people always say, you know, if you ever ask someone, have you ever been in that place? You know, like that. Oh, no, but my friend's been in there. That's what they always say. So, no, but my friend told me. So he was apparently in the town centre dropping off his friend. Yeah, well, I heard that he'd been to some strip joint, or not brothel, but like a strip joint, I think. So, Not that that matters. All that matters is what he did in the end by ploughing into all those people. You know, it's not against the law to go to a strip joint. Maybe he just didn't want to admit it, though, to his wife. But anyway. So, this is what's happening at the moment. He's pled guilty. Let's have a look at some of this other video about him. So this is him in the dock, isn't it?
Just got a little bit of breaking news to bring you now, and this is about the incident where we saw someone drive into a crowd of people during the Liverpool Premier League victory parade. And I can bring you the news now.
Now, if I would have realised that was Sophie Ridge on this little video, I wouldn't have even put it on. I cannot bear Sophie Ridge. But anyway, let's just watch it. It's only a minute. I can just about tolerate her for a minute.
Now, the man called Paul Doyle has pleaded guilty to all the charges. So he changed his plea this morning and actually pled guilty to dangerous driving in a fray. He also admitted 9 counts of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. He was sobbing in the dock, actually, earlier today as he dramatically intent. He was sobbing in the
dock. Look, did you see that? That's fabulous, isn't it? I mean, it was a fantastic day. You'll know, the person that's there in the chat, Ado, I expect it was a fabulous day.
Grievous bodily harm with intent. He was sobbing in the dock, actually, earlier today as he dramatically changed his pleas to guilty to all of those charges. And this, of course, relates to the time when we saw that car driving into the packed street full of Liverpool fans who were celebrating the club's victory there. So the Liverpool parade trial, of course, ongoing. Paul Doyle pleading guilty to all charges, changing his plea.
Yeah, okay, thank you and good night, Sophie. So, yeah, so I just wanted to bring you up to date with that. I did cover it at the time. And then we've been waiting for the trial to begin, or I would have reported on the trial. I was waiting for it. Ado. So Ado says nothing will put him off going back to Liverpool. I've been going to Liverpool since I was 15 years old, and it's the most amazing city in the world. It is a fantastic city, isn't it? I mean, even me as a City fan, because of course there's a big rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester United. I went to a match once actually at Old Trafford between Man United and Liverpool. It was quite scary actually. There was a lot of animosity. This was quite a few years ago when there was a lot more violence, between fans. I don't know what it's like now. I can't remember the last time I went to a football match. But yeah, there was quite a lot of animosity between the fans. And I was sat in, basically the reason I ended up going there was because my brother had a Manchester United season ticket, and him and his wife wanted to sit. This is my other brother, not the one that got me into Manchester City. But they wanted to go in the Stretford end. They wanted to stand. So he let me use his season ticket. And I went with them, but we were separate, And I was sat up in the stands in the season ticket seat. And there were families there. But the animosity, there was a lot of animosity between Manchester United and Liverpool. Anyway, between the fans. So Liverpool were winning, but Manchester United came back and actually ended up winning 3-2 or something like that. So it was a very atmospheric match, but it was a little bit scary. Anyway, years later, I went to Liverpool. And do you know what? I don't know what I was expecting really, because I went to Liverpool when I was a child, which was years ago. But of course, Liverpool won the City of Culture, didn't they? And there was a lot of the European City of Culture Award, and there was a lot of money put into Liverpool. And it was a beautiful place. And the people were so friendly. They were so lovely. you know, they talk to anyone, wouldn't they? You know, you sit down and they'd be chatting to you, and if you needed directions or if you needed help, they were just so helpful, so lovely. But I always would, well, as soon as I got talking to anyone, I would always say, because I was so away from, and I go, oh, Manchester, but I'm a City fan, you know, so like there's not the same animosity between the Liverpool fans and the City fans as there is between, I don't know what that Liverpool Man United thing is, but anyway, that's just the way it is. But oh yeah, it was beautiful, and it looks almost, it's very cosmopolitan now, isn't it? It looks, and I was very lucky with the weather. Funnily enough, I think the good weather must follow me around because it was February, so I wasn't expecting it to be nice weather. And you know, we went a lot. I was with a friend of mine, and he had exams, he had things to do there. So for quite a bit of time in the daytime, I'd be on my own, just wandering around and having a coffee or whatever. And everyone was just so friendly. You know, a lot of people struck up conversations with me, and we were sitting outside because it was such lovely weather, believe it or not, in February. But I was very impressed, with Liverpool. It's a beautiful city, it really is. And the people are pretty much salt of the earth, aren't they? You know, I mean, there's dodgy parts, of course, just like there are anywhere. Same in Manchester, same in any big city. There are places that perhaps are not advisable to go walking on your own at night. But that's same anywhere, isn't it? Wherever you are. So, but yeah, it's a beautiful place. Yeah, Angel, people are actually friendly and actually speak to you. Yeah, I think they're very friendly. They're lovely people. So, yeah, I don't know what speed he was going disobedient. He just ploughed into them, you know. He ploughed into them, so I don't know what the speed was. But anyway, so we'll find out. We'll find out on the 12th of December. Did they say the 12th or the 15th of December when sentencing starts? But I hope it's at least, 15, 17 years, maybe even more. It's not that I want him to go to, you know, I'm not that, but it's just what he did was so horrible. Let's not forget the ages of the victims. You know, a baby was in those victims. He ploughed into a pushchair. An elderly woman in her 70s. You know, that was the range of ages to the victims. So we cannot forget the victims, can we? He's got to be punished, and he's got to be punished properly. And apart from the actual sort of 100 or so people that were injured, everybody there will be traumatized one way or another, you know, to have had that lovely day ruined by this sort of crazy person. You know, there's something, he has to be held accountable for it. Just because he didn't do it in the name of Ali Akbar doesn't mean to say that he should get a light sentence. So, okay, I'm off. So enjoy your day, whatever you're doing. Tonight is Members Live. If you want to join in the Members Live, please become a member, and we'll see you there. I may be back before that, probably not today, because 2 lives in the day is quite a lot, but I will definitely be back for the Members Live tonight. I look forward to seeing you all there. I think we're going to have a Christmas quiz as well. We'll be talking about all things Christmas, and I'll be showing you the new Christmas videos that I've got set up and things. And I'm going to wear a Christmas jumper. Remember if you remember and you're joining in the Members Live, remember to wear your Christmas jumper. Send me a photo of it if you can, or anything Christmassy you want. I'll be asking that of everybody coming up to Christmas now. Anything Christmassy, send me a photo and I'll put a special video together as we go along. Here's the dog now. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Let's have a look at Tia. She's here. She knows I'm just about to finish, so she's going to get a bit of attention, aren't you, baby? I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. And yes, please hit like. Oh, the dog's going crazy now. Wait till as soon as she hears the closing video, the closing song. She knows, don't you? What's this? I'll see you really soon. And until then, may your God go. Oh, yes, I'm finishing. May your God go